Opinion. Today I am reviewing the new Broadway play Left on 10th, based on the memoir of the same name by Delia Ephron, written by Ephron, directed by Susan Stroman, and running through February 2nd at the James Earl Jones Theater at 138 West 48th Street in New York City. Be a part of the totality that is my patrons on Patreon, where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support my work here, as well as my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee, available on Spotify, with the latest episode, currently George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, currently available exclusively for patrons. There are a few other fun things like retro reviews, restaurant reviews, and the occasional poll. Thank you to my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. A link will be in the description. If you don't know who Delia Ephron is, you may know her work, having written screenplays for films like You've Got Mail with her sister Nora Ephron, and The Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. The play Left on 10th is her first Broadway show. Unlike her works of fiction, though, Left on 10th is not a biographical tale. Being that it's autobiographical, it takes some of the mystery out of the play, but we've seen stories where we know the ending as the story begins, so the play rests on making the journey worth the time. Left on 10th is a bit of a throwback to those comedies of the 1990s, which may appeal to the nostalgic movie-going audience of the time who may want to see a new work by Ephron. We get our two unsuspecting lovers in Delia, played by Julianna Margulies, and Peter, played by Peter Gallagher. The humor is laced with that slightly cynical New York wit, but it is also a tender, sentimental piece of theater, highlighted with some genuinely funny scenes, but is also a tale of two tones, which may disorient audiences with whether they're seeing a comedy or a serious drama. I'd say it's a romantic comedy with heavy dramatic overtones in the back half of the play. Delia has lost her husband and is dealing with the tedium of dealing with things like canceling your dead spouse's phone line. Eventually, she starts to feel the need for someone new in her life, so she starts looking for a new guy, which leads her to Peter, a psychiatrist from San Francisco. Her being a New Yorker, they attempt a long-distance relationship. This is where most of the comedy of the story comes from, as Delia dreads the possibility that she is in a too-good-to-be-true situation. It's all sweet and silly romantic comedy fare that is reminiscent of the comedies from the turn of the 20th century, featuring situational scenes, like the two of them having their first dinner together and she wondering if he'll tip appropriately. There are a lot of jumps in time, but it never feels like you're losing any story along the way. The play shifts significantly as Delia is diagnosed with leukemia, similar to the myelodysplasia that led to her sister Nora's death. The second half of the play focuses on the existential drama of death as Delia, with Peter by her side, she suffers through torturous pain as she attempts experimental tests to survive. The back half of the play is the stronger part of the story and is also the stronger acted part of the play. It feels a little bit more contemporary than the first half, which feels a little dated in its storytelling. Julianna Margulies is fine as Delia during the first half, but it's here in the second half that she captures some really beautiful acting moments. Gallagher is solid through and through, with an easy charm that gives off just enough of hubris at the beginning of the play that you wonder if there maybe is something suspicious about him, but never so much that we dislike him. There are two other actors in the show, Peter Francis James and Kate MacCluggage, who play various male and female roles as friends and various doctors. There is one beautiful little scene between Margulies and Francis James. He is playing a gay friend of hers in the scene, encouraging her as she struggles with what to do about her health, calling on his own survival through the AIDS epidemic. It's a small scene, but one of the best in the play. Margulies and Gallagher do have a wonderful charm and chemistry together. They're sweet. It's almost too saccharine. I mean, it's not a bad thing that the two of them are really in love with each other. It's important for the tale, but I wonder if the modern audience is going to feel that it's a little much. There are also two adorable dogs, Nessie Rose and Charlie, who have roles in the play as well. Beowulf Boritt has designed yet another excellent set, with Delia's book-dressed home splitting at points to bring about more environmental elements, and eventually the two parts rotating completely to become the hospital. Lighting designers Ken Billington and Itohan Edoloyi, along with projection designer Jeanette Oi-Suk, have presented some beautiful moments of creating various skylines in a not quite impressionist way, depicting New York skylines through various seasons and California redwoods. It romanticizes the setting, which is really emphasizing what the play is about, not just seeking a second chance on love, but a second chance on life. Because Left on 10th feels like a callback to the romantic comedies that ran from about the late 1980s to about the mid-2000s, the play's not as smart and witty as, say, You've Got Mail or When Harry Met Sally, but it still has that spirit. With a bit heavier of a drama in the second half of the play, it questions if we will embrace the first half of the play, which may come off as passé dated comedy. And if we do embrace it, will we accept the darker than usual tone shift into the second half of the play, which feels a bit more contemporary than the first half? With a little bit of adjustment and embracing what the story has to say, I think the story is something that can be appreciated. But I am only one man's opinion, so if you'd like to see Left on 10th, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon page, Spotify page, and social media where you can support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this review, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Westport Country Playhouse's production of The 39 Steps. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.